What you're about to hear has never been told to Western audiences. The inside account of a mass defection at 30,000 feet. On October 29, 2024, a plane carrying 183 North Korean students took off from Guangzhou, China, bound for Pyongyang. It landed in Seoul. A single student, armed with a phone and a secret, had leveraged a pilot's hidden crime to redirect an entire aircraft mid-flight. This is the complete story, told by the man who did it. For more exclusive first-person testimonies, subscribe and become part of our investigative community. It was 5 a.m. in Guangzhou, southern China. The moment my phone buzzed, I knew something was wrong. I turned on the screen and my stomach dropped. The call was from the North Korean Student Affairs Office in Beijing. One line. Emergency assembly. Guangzhou Consulate General. 10 a.m. today. Failure to appear is your responsibility. My hands were shaking. 2.5 years in China, and I'd never seen anything like this. Normal notices came a week in advance. This was the middle of the night. I woke my roommate. He'd gotten the same message. I stepped into the hallway. Every North Korean student on our floor was already standing in their doorway. You got it too? Same message? We checked each other's phones. Word for word. Identical. By dawn, we were cross-referencing through social media. Guangzhou, Shanghai, Beijing, Shenyang, Qingdao, Nanjing, Wuhan, Xi'an, even students in Kunming. All of them. Same message. Same time. When the final count came in, I couldn't breathe. 183 students, summoned simultaneously. Different universities. Different majors. I was studying business in Guangzhou. Someone else was in medicine in Beijing. Another was in mechanical engineering in Shanghai. Ages ranged from 20 to 30. Hometowns scattered from Pyongyang to Hamhung, Chongjin, Sinuiju. But we shared one thing. We were all outside. 10 days earlier, rumors had started circulating about an accident at a large garment factory near Dandong in Liaoning province. At first, people said it was a small fire. Then the story grew. 3 days before the summons, a senior student I trusted pulled me aside and spoke quietly. The whole second floor collapsed. 16 dead. All our people. Everything shifted after that. Word spread that Chinese authorities had launched a full investigation working conditions, safety standards, residency status of North Korean laborers. Days later, the order came down. All overseas personnel return home. Factory workers, restaurant staff, construction workers. Students were not exempt. When I reached the plaza outside the consulate, dozens were already there. Students who'd taken overnight trains from Beijing. Students who'd caught pre-dawn flights from Shanghai. Nobody spoke. Everyone stood with the same expression, tight, hollow, braced. One look at their faces told me everything. This is the end. At exactly 10 a.m., the consulate gates swung open. We were led into a large hall. 3 party officials stood on the platform up front, the kind you only see when something comes directly from Pyongyang. All 183 of us took our seats. Silence settled over the room. No one coughed. Comrades, by urgent directive of the Party Central Committee, you have been gathered here today. The voice was flat, final. On October 5th, a critical safety incident occurred at a garment factory in Dandong, Liaoning province. The second floor collapsed. 16 of our people were killed. In response, the Party Central Committee has made its decision. All overseas personnel currently stationed in China are to return home immediately. Someone nearby made a sound barely audible, a swallowed moan. Factory workers, restaurant employees, construction technicians, and yes, students as well. No exceptions. The hall stirred. Departure is scheduled for October 29th, 2 weeks from today. Personal belongings 20 kilograms per person. Your schools have already been notified. No further contact is necessary. No further contact necessary. That meant no goodbyes. Not to the professors who'd taught us. Not to the Chinese friends we'd grown close to. Just gone. I walked out of that hall and sat down on the steps, and I understood with complete clarity what this was. This wasn't repatriation. It was punishment. For what we'd seen out here. For what we'd learned. For what we'd started to feel. For the questions we'd begun to ask. For the comparisons we could now make. They were pulling us back before we became something they couldn't control. Looking back, I think it all started from the very beginning. March 2022. I boarded a flight to Beijing from Pyongyang's Sunan Airport. My father was a party official. My mother a teacher. My academic record was clean. My loyalty verification passed. I was one of 28 students selected that year. When I stepped off the plane at Beijing Capital Airport, the scale of it stopped me cold. The terminal alone was bigger than anything I'd ever seen. People everywhere. Lights that didn't flicker. Duty-free shops overflowing with goods, no lines, no ration cards, no waiting. The night before we left, our supervising officer had warned us, "Comrades, this is a capitalist society. It may look impressive, but it's rotten underneath. Don't be seduced. Focus only on your studies." That conviction didn't last long. About a week into Guangzhou, 5 of us wandered into an unmanned convenience store. No staff at the entrance. You scanned a QR code. The glass door slid open and inside, shelves packed floor to ceiling. No cashier. No counter. You just picked up what you wanted and walked out. Payment processed automatically, apparently. Is no one actually watching? That was Xiongmin keeping his voice low. Then why isn't anyone stealing? Nobody answered. What we'd been taught was this: people are fundamentally selfish. Without surveillance, order collapses. That's why the party is necessary. That's why monitoring is necessary. But here, with no one watching, people weren't stealing. That question cracked something open. About a month later, a senior student pressed a small USB drive into my palm. George Orwell, 1984, read it. That night, I turned my laptop screen to its lowest brightness and started reading. My hands wouldn't stay still. War is peace. Freedom is slavery. Ignorance is strength. It was fiction, but nothing about it felt unfamiliar. If anything, it felt like home. After that, books started moving between us. Hannah Arendt's The Origins of Totalitarianism. Karl Popper's The Open Society and Its Enemies. Videos, too. Defector interviews. BBC documentaries. Radio Free Asia broadcasts. Things we were absolutely forbidden to see. We watched them anyway. One Saturday night, a few of us were watching a South Korean variety show when Jinsu said quietly, "Were we lied to?" We were taught that South Korean people were starving. Look at them. Do those look like starving people to you? He paused. We were in a cage. Not a physical one. A cage inside our heads. It was the first time any of us had said it out loud. Questions started stacking up. Why is our internet cut off when no one else's is? Why can't we travel freely when other people can? Why don't we get to choose our own jobs? Each answer led to 3 more questions. It happened 6 months before the repatriation order. Sunday morning, April 14th, 2024. "Everyone out, now!" Officer Kim's voice was sharp, panicked. We scrambled into the hallway. "You have 1 hour to reach the North Korean liaison office in Beijing. No luggage. ID and passport only." We were loaded onto a charter bus. The whole ride, no one spoke. What did they find? Was it the books? Was it me? The air inside that bus was thick with the kind of fear you can't name. The next morning, we arrived at a squat, gray cement building on the outskirts of Beijing. Iron bars on every window, high walls on every side. Chinese soil, but in every meaningful sense, North Korean territory. Students from Shanghai, Nanjing, Tianjin, and Qingdao were already there. Around 100 of us filed into the hall. 3 state security officials stood on the platform. It has come to our attention that certain students have been engaged in deeply subversive activity, secretly circulating banned reactionary texts, watching hostile broadcasts. Some have even been conspiring to defect. My chest went hollow. I had read the books. I had watched the videos. "Bring him in." The doors opened. 2 security agents dragged a man in by both arms. Somewhere in the hall, someone swallowed a scream. It was Kim Cheol-ho, a senior at Peking University. I'd met him the previous summer when I visited Beijing. He'd been sharp, warm, always laughing. What stood in front of us now was barely recognizable. Hands bound behind his back, bruises and cuts across his face. Both eyes swollen nearly shut. His lower lip split, the blood long dried. This individual illegally downloaded over 30 pieces of reactionary material. In the past 3 months, he watched hundreds of hours of hostile broadcasts. He contacted the South Korean embassy to inquire about asylum procedures. This is betrayal, plain and simple. The official stepped closer to him. "Anything to say?" An agent wrenched Cheol-ho's jaw open. He spoke in a voice that barely held together. "If we go back, it's over. Going back means it's all over." The room went still. "You will return to the homeland and face the judgment of the people. Your family will share the consequences of your crimes. Your mother is in Hamhung, isn't she? Your sister is enrolled at Pyongyang Light Industry University. Please not my family. Please leave them out of this." They dragged him out. At the door, he turned back and looked at us one last time. He didn't say a word. He didn't have to. His eyes said it clearly enough. Run. Don't go back. Whatever you do, don't go back. About a week later, a rumor spread through the dormitories. He'd died of a heart attack during questioning. A healthy man, not yet 30. Heart attack. Nobody believed it. We all knew. That night, 4 of us stood on the dormitory rooftop in silence, leaning against the railing. What are we supposed to do? Jinsu's fists were clenched. Shiolho just wanted to know. He just wanted to understand what was real. That's a crime. Minchil stared at the ground. In our system, it is. Doubt itself is treason. The question alone is enough. We looked at each other. No one said it out loud. No one needed to. We can't go back. October 29th, 2024, 5 a.m. I stepped out of my dorm room for the last time. 1 bag. 20 kilograms. That was everything. My desk was still stacked with Chinese textbooks. Photos still pinned to the wall, me and Jinsu laughing somewhere. A group shot with Chinese friends at a restaurant. I left it all. Bayun Airport, Guangzhou, they led us to a restricted zone nowhere near the regular terminals. Through a chain-link fence, I could see an old military transport plane, paint peeling in patches. No markings of any kind. As I walked toward the aircraft, a sheet of paper blew loose in the wind and landed at my feet. A crew manifest. Pilot Choi Min-hyuk. My heart stopped. 3 years earlier, my uncle had died. He'd worked as a maintenance engineer for Air Koryo. The day before a cargo flight from Beijing back to Pyongyang, he discovered a problem with the cargo loading. The weight distribution was off. The securing mechanisms weren't properly fastened. He reported it to the pilot. That pilot was Choi Min-hyuk, who ignored it, who said the schedule couldn't be delayed, who ordered departure anyway. My uncle fell when the cargo shifted on takeoff. The official report blamed maintenance error. Choi Min-hyuk walked away. His father was a senior party official, and now that man was flying this plane. I handed the manifest back and looked toward the aircraft. Near the cargo hold, Chinese laborers were quietly offloading small crates into a waiting truck. Nothing on any official cargo list. Choi Min-hyuk glanced over and gave a small nod. Contraband. I pulled out my phone and shot everything I could. The crates, the truck, the nod. His face. Boarding began. Inside, the seats were hard and packed tight. State security agents stood in every aisle. The moment we were seated, our IDs and passports were collected. When the students from Beijing boarded, the count was complete. 183. The engines turned over. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be departing shortly. Choi Min-hyuk's voice, slightly unsteady. I pressed my hand against my phone in my pocket. You don't want to go back either, do you? We lifted off. Through the window, Guangzhou shrank. The city where I'd spent 2.5 years. Nobody spoke. 183 people, silent. The seatbelt sign went off. I need the bathroom. I shook off Jinsu's hand and stood. I got the agent's clearance and walked slowly, deliberately toward the front of the aircraft, toward the cockpit. Where do you think you're going? Another agent stepped in front of me. I kept moving. The cockpit door was right there. I raised my voice. Captain Choi Min-hyuk, this morning at Guangzhou Airport, I saw what was happening at the cargo hold. The crates, the truck. I have photos. The cockpit door opened. Choi stepped out. Whatever color had been in his face was gone. What did you just say? I held up my phone. The crates, the laborers, the truck, him nodding. I'm planning to hand these to state security when we land in Pyongyang. Smuggling cargo is a serious offense, isn't it? An agent twisted my arm behind my back. I didn't look at him. I kept my eyes on Choi. And there's the matter of 3 years ago. My uncle, Engineer Yun-sik. You remember him. Your negligence killed him and you buried it under his name. You walked away because of your father. But this is different. You're smuggling contraband on a repatriation flight carrying 183 students. When that comes out, everything gets re-examined. You're finished. Wait. Just wait. His voice cracked. What do you want? I let a beat pass. Turn south. Don't take us back. The cabin erupted. What is happening? We're all going to die. Students shouting. Agents sprinting. The senior security official grabbed a satellite phone, no signal. Then the intercom clicked on. Ladies and gentlemen, this aircraft has entered southern airspace. Northern communication networks are no longer accessible. Fuel calculations make a return flight impossible. Under international aviation law, An unauthorized aircraft attempting to re-enter northern airspace is subject to interception. There are 183 lives aboard this plane. I have a responsibility to land them safely. We are proceeding south to Incheon International Airport. Incheon. The cabin went dead quiet. Then from the back rows someone screamed, "We made it! We're going south! We're free! We're actually free!" Students grabbing each other, weeping, laughing at the same time. The senior security official picked up an emergency hammer. Students surrounded him in seconds. "Put it down. It's 1 against 183. There's no version of this you win. Do you know what happens to your families?" A young woman from Peking University stepped forward. Her voice was steady. "Yes, we know. But if we go back, we get purged and our families get dragged in anyway. Under the guilt by association system, the outcome is the same either way. At least if we survive, we have a chance of finding a way to get them out someday." Another student, "We've already changed. There's no going back to who we were." Shiolho told us, "Going back means it's over. We want to live. We want to live." The voices merged into one. The security official dropped the hammer. 10 minutes later, every agent was zip-tied to their seat with safety belts. The cabin belonged to the students. Outside the windows, 2 fighter jets appeared, one on each side of the aircraft. Korean Air Force F-15s. The pilot in the nearer jet raised his hand. A wave. "We're with you. Welcome." The cabin exploded. "We made it. We're alive." I grabbed Jinsu and Seongmin. "We're really alive," Jinsu said. He was shaking. "Yeah," I said. "We are." My voice wasn't steady either. "Ladies and gentlemen, we have received landing clearance from Southern Air Traffic Control. We will touch down at Incheon International Airport in 10 minutes. Congratulations. You chose freedom." The aircraft descended. The runway came into view. Then contact. A jolt. Korean ground. 183 people applauding at the same time. The cockpit door opened. Choi Min-hyuk walked out. His face was wet. "Thank you, Captain. You saved us." "No." He shook his head. "I was a coward. I just didn't want to die." The door opened. Warm air moved through the cabin. I don't know how else to describe it. It felt different from other air. The first student down the stairs reached the tarmac and fell to his knees, both hands pressed to the ground, shoulders shaking. I watched from the stairs. Then I went down. Last step. My foot found South Korean ground. Everything stopped. Sound. Time. The world. It was an ordinary runway. Gray asphalt. Nothing remarkable about it. But it was the most precious ground I'd ever stood on. I looked up. "Uncle, are you watching? We made it. All 183 of us. We're here. We're free." The wind moved through. Warm. A ground crew official moved down the line with a clipboard, counting. 1, 2, 3. 100, 100, 170, 180, 181, 182. 183, all present and accounted for. The sound that came out of us wasn't really a cheer. It was something past language. 183. Every single one. Not one missing. Not one hurt. Jinsu took my arm. "Let's go." "Yeah, let's go." We walked toward the terminal building. And as we walked, I thought we didn't just arrive today. We chose. In the middle of fear, we chose courage. In the middle of despair, we chose to believe there was something on the other side. Staring down the end, we chose to live. That choice carried all 183 of us here. We weren't selected. We selected ourselves. And now for the first time, our actual lives could begin.